the next appearance of Our Lady. It was impossible to explain what was happening in front of them, and it fascinated scientists, attorneys, and journalists equally. But what actually happened on that fateful day in 1917? Was it just a trick of light, an optical illusion, or something deeper? Let's find out. On October 13, 1917, an estimated 70,000 people showed up to witness the supposed miracle, their eyes fixed on the sky. The crowd was not disappointed as they looked up and saw what has come to be known as the miracle of the sun. But what exactly did they witness? According to numerous accounts, the sun, usually as a constant, unchanging entity in the sky, appeared to behave strangely. Witnesses described seeing the sun seemingly traveling at breakneck speed in the direction of the Earth before it suddenly looped back to its starting position. It spun on its axis, whirling around on itself in a breathtaking display, all while emitting dazzling flashes of colored light. What was the real story behind this mesmerizing event? Well, here's where things get shocking. Dr. Gonçalo de Almeida Garrett, professor of natural science at Coimbra University, who was present during the occurrence, said that the first few moments were ordinary. He looked at the location where the apparitions were supposed to appear. He felt a mildly excited but slightly icy feeling in the pit of his stomach as time went by and nothing remarkable happened. Then there was a collective scream from the thousands assembled, and the whole crowd suddenly shifted their focus away from the anticipated spot, turning their backs and shoulders away from it and directing their gazes towards the sky on the opposite side. For scientists, what happened next was beyond all logical explanation. It's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Imagine the scene. The sun is hanging high, as if it was still midday, and the clock is counting down to 2 o'clock. The sun has just broken through a thick layer of dark rain clouds, its rays penetrating through with stunning intensity. All eyes turn towards it, magnetized by its radiant glow. Instead of seeing a lifeless silver disk, as others had said, they witnessed something much more fascinating. Its sharp, defined edges were pleasant to the eyes, similar to a pearl sparkling in the sky. Rays of multicolored light danced across the landscape, painting the world with a mesmerizing glow. They had never seen anything like it before. It felt nothing like the moon on a clear night. This was something altogether different. It was not round like the moon, and its color and shade were not the same. The object appeared more similar to a mother-of-pearl wheel with a distinct brightness. And this was not like when one sees the sun through fog. There was no mist to mask its brilliant rays. In Fatima, it wasn't just light. It radiated warmth too, with a sharp, well-defined outline that left no room for doubt. When he first saw the phenomenon taking place, he was filled with panic and tried to look away. He saw an amazing change in the atmosphere as the sun display continued. He continued to study the sun and noticed that the surroundings gradually grew darker. His eyes moved from nearby objects to the far horizon, where he witnessed an odd scene with everything covered in a shade that looked like amethyst. The objects surrounding him, the sky above, and the very atmosphere itself seemed to share this ethereal color. Even the oak tree cast a shadow tinged with the same mysterious shade on the ground. It was as if Mother Nature had taken a paintbrush dipped in hues of amethyst, creating a scene that was out of this world, leaving everyone in awe. He decided to close his eyes and turn away from the possibility that something was wrong with his vision. He doubted it would turn everything purple, but he couldn't help but worry. He put his palms over his eyes to shelter them from the brightness. He opened his eyes carefully again, still facing away from the sun, and was shocked to see that the surrounding area had not lost its purple tint. A violet hue seemed to envelop the universe, leaving him perplexed by the bizarre scene in front of him and resisting any logical interpretation. When the incredible experience came to an end, Dr. Garrett declared with conviction that he was normal and had not had any hallucinations. However, what he witnessed really shocked him. Everything in his immediate vicinity had taken on the color of a faded yellow damask. People looked jaundiced. Faces that had formerly been brightly colored were now tainted with this strange color. His own hand even took on the same color. Even though the scene was strange, Dr. Garrett remained composed the entire time, seeing the phenomenon in a peaceful manner without any emotional upheaval. And you know what? He even passed a torch, leaving others to connect the dots and make sense of these unbelievable happenings. Now, let's hear what the three little shepherd children, Placido Santos, Francisco, and Jacinto, have to say about this miraculous event. And you might want to pay close attention to this next part. In the spring of 1917, these 3 shepherd children were the first to see the Blessed Virgin Mary in the countryside of Fatima, Portugal. They had to take care of their family's flock of sheep every day. One day, when they were looking after their sheep, they suddenly observed a bright flash in the clear blue sky that appeared to be lightning. When they looked up, they saw a woman dressed entirely in white. She radiated a brightness clearer and more intense than a crystal cup full of sparkling water lit by the scorching sun. She was even more radiant than the sun. "Keep coming here every month," she added. "I will tell you who I am and what I want in October, and I'll perform a miracle for all to see and believe." Although Lucia preferred to keep all of this a secret, her talkative cousin was unable to hold back and informed her family as soon as she got home, as rumors of the Blessed Virgin Mary's eternal virginity spread among the children. Naturally, not many people believed the children, but the problem was that each time they were questioned, their stories matched up exactly, making it hard not to believe them. People's curiosity was piqued, and they anxiously waited for October 13th, the day Mary had promised to perform a miracle. A fierce storm swept over the mountainous terrain of Fatima the previous night. Despite this, tens of thousands risked the weather and traveled to the cova where Our Lady had promised to reveal herself. As the 13th day's dawn broke, the weather briefly cleared, only to be followed by another round of intense rain. In the midst of this downpour, Mary appeared to Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinto. With gentle grace, Lucia posed a question: "What do you want?" She replied calmly, expressing her desire for a chapel to be built there in her honor. She formally introduced herself as a Lady of the Rosary and commanded them to continue their rosary prayers every day without fail. The expectations of the war's end and the soldiers' imminent return to their homes filled the air. Lucia poured her heart out to Mary, explaining the pain and misery that many were going through as a result of the continued offenses against God. Mary, with a heavy heart, cautioned against further offending the Lord, who was already deeply wounded by humanity's actions. Lucia and others turned to face the sun as Mary held out her hands in a solemn gesture. As she rose higher in the sky, her heavenly light continued to be reflected onto the sun. After Mary left, the crowd saw the miracle of the sun, which was the fulfillment of the prophecy. The sun appeared as a spinning disk in the sky, its radiance subdued but still captivating. The sun appeared to defy the laws of physics, surprising onlookers by shooting towards the earth and then gracefully returning to its proper position in the sky. Witnesses claimed that the muddy, moist ground that was soaked by the rain, as well as their previously damp clothes, had suddenly become completely dry. They appeared as though they had just returned from the dry cleaners, according to Domenic Race, one of the eyewitnesses. Maria de Copona, one of the first believers, described how the sun changed everything to different colors: yellow, blue, and white. It was like a wheel of fire, and it began to shake and tremble, about to fall on the people. There was a panic, with some screaming that they would all die, and others pleading with Our Lady to intervene to save them. A few even went as far as to make gestures of confession, and one woman started to confess her sins aloud, admitting what she had done. All of them exhaled with relief as the sun finally stopped leaping and moving. Everyone saw the miracle that the children had been talking about. Father Ignacio Lorenzo, another witness who was about 11 miles away, recalled the day clearly. He was just 9 years old and was at the local village school when it happened. Suddenly, shouts and cries filled the air outside the school around noon. Everyone was pointing at the sun, and there was that great miracle visible even from the hilltop where his village was located. Father Ignacio found it difficult to describe his experience. He claimed to have seen the sun whirling like a snowball and appearing pale. He was scared when it started to move in a zigzag pattern downward. He ran and hid among the crying people, thinking it was the end of the world. Close by, a skeptic who had mocked the pilgrims before was paralyzed, and he fixed his eyes on the sun. Later, he trembled and dropped to his knees in the mud, begging Our Lady to intervene. Everything took on different hues during those bizarre moments. The sun returned to its usual position after 10 minutes or so, much to everyone's relief. All expressed gratitude to Our Lady and celebrated. The miracle was said to have been witnessed from distances spanning 15 to 25 miles, eliminating the possibility of any type of collective hallucination or mass hypnotism. The amazing event that had unfolded in front of their eyes forced doubters and skeptics of Catholicism, as well as the children's stories, to believe. The miracle of the sun had a significant influence, igniting a revival of piety towards Our Lady that continues to this day. It became